Welcome back, everyone. We're cooking with cake, and we're cooking with Charlene Patton this morning with the Soybean Commission. Charlene, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
We love it whenever you come on, show us some healthy alternatives to the foods we already make. And this morning we're talking about some awesome foods that are by kids.
That's
Tell us
right.
about that.
Well, it's part of the National Festival of Breads contest, and we had talked about that earlier in the year. It was actually held in Manhattan in June, and there was a special award-winning category that was sponsored by the Kansas Soybean Commission for those entries that use soy in their recipes. And we're so happy to partner with the Kansas Wheat Commission that sponsors the National Festival of Breads, and it's only every 2 years, so mark your calendars for 2019. It is a great event. I think there were 3,000 people, Shane, that attended it this year.
That's great.
Plus all these bakers that come in from all over the country. So
what are we making?
we're making the Soy Monkey Muffins. It was a runner-up, and I've got this that we've creamed here, but I'm going to have I'm just going to show this. We have all-purpose flour, whole white wheat flour in here, soy flour, cinnamon, and our baking powder. And I'll let you just kind of stir that together, Shane. And then here we have some interesting ingredients in that we have 1/4 of a cup of unsalted butter and 1/4 of a cup of coconut oil. So she has an interesting twist that. And then we've mixed that with 1/2 cup of sugar and 1/2 cup of brown sugar. And now we're going to add an egg, and I'll let you do that, Allison. And according to her directions, and it probably makes it a little bit better to mix with it, is that you add the eggs one at a time and whip them up really good. Shane, I'll let you go ahead and add that other egg. Yep, to save time here. And then the other ingredient that she has here is these Greek yogurt, but we're going to add 1/2 of the dry mixture here.
Okay, just half,
Yeah,
huh?
just half of it
Okay, that's
in.
pressure. I don't want to. Okay, about that?
There you go, perfect. And then Allison, I'll let you add that Greek yogurt.
Okay.
And that is 6 tablespoons of Greek yogurt, sorry. And then what she suggested doing, and of course we're making muffins, so we don't want to over stir things, is that she said to fold it in. So folding is a technique that instead of stirring, you kind of just turn your spoon over, just like that.
It's all in the wrist.
All in the wrist, absolutely. That's something you could teach that child, that little girl of yours. Yeah,
One day.
Yeah,
I like how that kind of adds some protein to our mixture. You know?
Absolutely. Now you're going to add the rest of that,
Okay.
and that's the rest of our dry ingredients. And with a basic muffin recipe, we just want to mix it until we don't see any dry ingredients again. So we're just going to lightly stir that.
What happens if you overmix it?
Well, with muffins, you'll get tunnels and holes in them, and they'll be tough. They'll not be as tender as what we'd like for a muffin. So it's even when you're using a different recipe, just mix it until you don't see any dry ingredients and then stop. And sometimes it's hard, like with children, it's a great recipe to start out and teach them because there's not a lot of ingredients and there's not a lot of equipment that they have to use, but then they like to stir a lot. So you have to tell them that not to do that. Then we're going to use a muffin tin and grease it. And what she did was she used a small dipper here. It's 1 1/4 inches. She dropped it in here, and then she would take it, just roll it over. This is unsalted butter, and then this is a mixture of cinnamon and sugar and soy nuts, and then put that in our muffin tin.
Okay.
Now you can do 3 of those in a tin, or if you want to make it a little bit faster because it takes time to do that, you could put the 3 balls in each one and then sprinkle it with a little bit of the sugar and drizzle it with butter and
That's
makes it a little
awesome.
soft. But you can
take a
see
look at
as
the
a
finished
final product, yeah. And I did some of both, and you can see that one kind of toward the front is one that doesn't have that all around it.
Just on top.
Yeah, just on top more or less. And then the other ones, if you like more of that monkey bread filling, then you would put it around to all of them.
That's fantastic.
Bake it at 350 for about 18 minutes, and this is our honorable mention recipe.
Okay, and the name of this winner is Morgan Famula. She's from New Jersey, but our next, the grand prize winner is actually from Kansas.
It is.
Awesome.
That's exciting.
That's
going
to be, yeah, well, that'll be, take a look at that recipe coming up a little bit later in the show. But Charlene, this morning we're talking about making our morning routines easier. This is something that you could whip up beforehand, pop them in the freezer, put them in the microwave for breakfast or toast them.
Absolutely. You mentioned breakfast because
Yeah.
National Breakfast Month is coming up here in September, or an after-school snack because you'll have the
perfect.
muffins. And we know that if kids help make things, then they're apt to try them. They want to try them and see what they taste like.
Absolutely.
suggestion.
Okay, Charlene can't wait to check out the next recipe with our grand prize winner from here in Kansas. We'll check that out here in a little bit later on in the show. But let's take a look at where you can find these recipes. This is from the Kansas Soybean Commission. You can visit kansassoybeans.org or call that number right there on your screen and request the free Soy Foods Guide. It has some fantastic recipes, and you can find missed recipes from the show today on their website. But for now, we'll be right back. Stay with us.